informative. We're going to listen to a little bit more of this. We're going to touch on also, the car and where some people thought she was deceased against the milk jug. We'll talk about that, and we kind of touched on that with him as well. So I'll kind of fast forward and try to find that for you guys. But we did get a lot of information that pertains to good information on what we're looking at from a well case.
A very definitive start, which we can track. Okay, the newish stack. So the dog naturally always looks for the strongest odor that you can find. So when you put him in a scenario like that, the dog is going to search for the strongest odor picture to match up the target odor that he's been given to work on.
Right, and then in the older the scent, maybe one that's down by a road, maybe just be an old scent that they just pick up, right? It could be just.
It could be. I mean, all these things really, when the dog is working, it's not, as I said, it's not definitive. It goes into what we call the clue list. It's a clue. And then we have to try to figure out how that fits into the entire picture, if it fits at all.
Now, do the live smelling dogs, are they able to smell under concrete, into septic tanks, into...
a lot of dogs will track that target. The target odor that we give them, they will track it until they have either get to where the largest.
Now remember, he's talking about live sniffing dogs, right? He's not talking about cadaver dogs. So the live sniffing dog would miss. And I asked him, and he said, yes, the live sniffing dog would miss a deceased body in a septic tank. Just if we don't get to that part, I just want to answer that question for you guys.
That rule is, and it ends, and that's where they'll stop, whether that's in the septic tank or whatever. Now, if you suspect that the person is in a well or dead in a well or dead.
What's up, dog? It is Claudia. Oh no, hold on. Oh God, I hope I don't lose you. Oh, okay, hold on. I lowered the volume on the really good dog talk. Okay. I think we're safe now. Okay. What's up, dog? One word, capital W, capital U, capital D, as in a dog name. What's up, dog? Also from Hands to Paws Grooming Salon in Beverly Hills, Florida, where we are the home of groom style and swag. I am streaming off of 2 platforms tonight. I am streaming off of StreamYard, and I am streaming on my personal Facebook page and What's Up Dog on YouTube. I do want to let everybody know on my personal page, I probably will do about 5 more, and then everything's going to switch over to What's Up Dog. And if you join the live stream and you heard the talking in the background, that is No Thanks with Doug speaking about, hold on, I just wrote it down for you. Peace River Search and Rescue. Peace River Search and Rescue. And they are here in Florida. And Doug from No Thanks did a really wonderful interview with them this afternoon, which I would highly recommend that you go and listen to. It has phenomenal, fantastic, informative information about search and scent dogs and cadaver dogs. And Doug did a really, I'm going to be fantastic tonight. Fantastic's going to be my word. A really good interview with him and asked really great questions. And he is also live. Don't leave me. Hey. And if you're on I will get off of Doug and get on. I'll have to watch Doug's recap. So that is Rescue River, Peace River Search and Rescue. And Doug from No Thanks was also asking to support them and all the valuable work they do. People do not realize they give their time and their money, and a lot of this is at their own personal cost. And if you had somebody either elderly, very young, or in trouble, these are the people. Children need heroes, dogs need heroes, elderly people need heroes, right? Who doesn't need a hero? Speaking of heroes, and speaking of the subject matter that we have been discussing on this page, what has been trauma alert content because of traumatic scenario is going on, we would like to show you, this is a sign language hand signal if you are in distress in a situation that you could not vocalize or tell that you were in distress. You could put your hand into a car and give this signal. Teach your teachers, mothers, brothers, uncles, aunts and uncles and grandfathers and grandmoms, and most importantly, the children. Okay, and you should practice. So if you were in trouble, you could give a hand signal in sign language without letting somebody know that you were letting somebody know that you might be in distress. All right, so I did the things, and I just wanted to start off with letting you listen to Doug from No Thanks, because he did such a really great thing. I love hearing people talk about the dogs. Let's talk dogs. And the dogs did not fail Summer. They brought her love, they brought her joy, they brought her companionship, they brought her empathy, they brought her and her brothers happy, happy moments. We started off discussing this case because of the dogs, and over 21 dogs on the property, plus still having puppies. And Summer had a dog named Lucky, and she couldn't say Lucky, so she called her puppy Yucky. And Yucky recently had puppies. And I was dying and waiting to see if any of the tubers would go adopt, because they, done so much content on the case, if anybody would adopt a puppy. And one did. And her name is Ziggy. And definitely go check out Ziggy's channel. And Ziggy took a puppy that technically, in the best circumstances, was a little bit young to be taken away from her mom. But 7 months later, there were only four or five dogs on the property, and we're only aware of one litter. And most of that litter, I'm assuming, has already been placed in loving, fantastic homes, including Ziggy's home, where she got a lot of controversy over this puppy and had to have a very thick skin over her puppy. At one point, she was even asked to show proof of life by a really terrible, well, let's just say I don't like him. Maybe I shouldn't say all the things. I would say run to anybody that was around him. I think that he's insane. So that's just my opinion. Okay, just my opinion. So that puppy's name is Athena Moon Ziggy. And I have anticipated and said that I think that little puppy is going to make the most wonderful addition to Ziggy and little Ziggy's family. And she did a live last night, and there was little Miss Athena Moon, just as chubby and chunky and happy and healthy as possibly could be, snuggling with her mom on camera. And I wanted to discuss Athena Moon's age, which I'm sure that they actually know the birth date, but I don't actually know the birth date. And since there was some controversy over the age of the puppy when she left Yucky, which was Summer Wells' puppy, and Summer would have been thrilled to know that her puppy had such a good home. There was some controversy over the age, and so when I saw the puppy last night, I'm going to guesstimate right about 7 weeks at this point. So very happy, very healthy, very fluffy with the puppy. Absolutely stole the show. Wall was on camera. How could you take your eyes off that puppy? You just couldn't. Okay. Athena is adorable, and she's going to turn into such a good dog. So let's go over some things about a puppy. And I'm guesstimating, guys, so between 6 and 8 weeks. She doesn't quite look 8 weeks to me yet, but between 6 and 8 weeks. So what do puppies do at that age? I got to put on my grandma glasses now because we're going into teacher mode. So what they do at that age is they sleep a lot, they snuggle, they pee, they poop, They're still super cute and will waddle around, right? They're getting their little legs. They don't really have their land legs yet. So they'll waddle and they'll fall and they'll go to you and they want to sleep most of the day. And that's okay. You got to remember that a dog is doing a full rapid growth process in a full year. In some breeds, 2 years. But in a full year, they're doing the majority of their growing. And when the body is growing like that, it needs lots of sleep. So that is completely and totally normal. Now, how much should a puppy eat at that age? Well, appropriately, you really want to always make sure a very, very young puppy is eating at least 3 to 4 times a day. When they're very, very young, you're going to start narrowing that down to 2 times a day. I'm going to say right about 10, 12 weeks. I still believe a puppy as young as this one should be eating about 3 or 4 times a day, and that's to keep the system going. But what goes in must come out. So, do you leave water down for a puppy? Well, you want to teach the puppy to naturally hydrate, correct? But my recommendation would be to leave about this much, because let me tell you something about puppies. They're kind of like little kids, right? They're just learning to crawl. And a bowl of water is a swimming pool. It is a great place to put paws in and get splashed and feel that come up on your face. And puppies don't have a lot of coordination, so they'll jump up and the bowl will come rolling down and you'll have a wet mess. So just words to the wise, when you have a very young puppy, if you're choosing to leave water out all the time, if not, you have to make sure that the puppy is staying hydrated. If you're trying to control what goes in must come out. Okay? What goes in must come out. So I would leave, my recommendation would be little bits of water and to fill it up constantly. When you are not supervising the puppy, because at this point, the sphincter muscles are going to start fully developing, but they're not fully developed yet, which means when the feeling comes upon, then the puppy will react, the pressure will come, and we will squat and poop. Or the pressure comes on and we will pee. So how often what goes in must come out, right? So a puppy eating a minimum of 3 times a day would need to poop about 4 to 5 times a day. And here's another recommendation. I recommend that you use higher quality food. Why, you say? What? How much money do you want me spending on that food, Claudia? Well, for one dog, you can make it super affordable, and please do your homework. Because if you feed higher quality food, what's going to happen is the body can process it and digest it differently. So the puppy doesn't need to poop as often. There's a trade-off there. Am I talking your language? Let's talk dog. Okay. So what goes in must come out. Water in small amounts to prevent messes and slip hazards. And it's not a pool. And we would never want to reinforce that, because you'll be doing a lot of cleanup all the time, because that funness just doesn't go away when we turn 10 weeks old. No, it doesn't. So this is the tough talk now. Here we're going to go into some tough talk. I'm going to talk some tough things. Dogs are naturally den animals. Okay? If you cannot keep your eye on the puppy, especially at this age where our little internal areas are still developing and we just don't have the self-control, but the housebreaking process must begin right away, right? So you need, where are you keeping the puppy so the puppy has a contained area? Because when puppy wakes up, puppy's going to want to pee. Puppy's going to want to poop after eating between 5 and 30 minutes, right? So 6-week-old puppy, it's going to be less time. 7-week-old puppy, it's going to be a little bit more time, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15. Otherwise, It can be up to 30, but really up to 30, you're getting more at the 10-week arena, okay? So you don't have much time. And remember, when they're that little, all the self-control mechanisms are not fully developed. They're just not there. So you set your expectation for where the baby can succeed. So you need a nice confined area. I'm always going to recommend a crate because dogs are den animals, and they're going to want a den is actually so small you wouldn't believe how they crawl in, and it's going to create a safe place, a confined area, and it's going to allow the puppy to sleep and maybe whine when he wakes up so you can immediately get that pee-pee out and the puppy can run around. You're going to know within 5 minutes that puppy, if it hasn't pooped, is going to want to poop. Scoop the puppy up, tell the puppy how good it is, poop, let them run around, back to sleep, just like a little baby. They need all their development. Also, keeping in mind that little ones are very much like little people, and if they're overtired and they're super wound up, they just don't have the ability to calm themselves down and go to sleep. Okay, so you want to be able to take that puppy, let them go to sleep. When they are sleeping, dog hack, when puppies are sleeping, they systems slow down and they do not have to urinate and defecate. So if your puppy is sleeping for 6 to 8 hours and there is no urination or defecation going on, it is because the puppy is sleeping and the whole system slowed down, not because they have that kind of self-control. So the old school of thought would have been an hour for each month. It's still not a bad school of thought. I just think it's very broad and banned, and it doesn't cover actually people's lifestyle. But 1 hour for every month is not a bad, at least it gives a guideline. Okay, it's not the greatest, it's not the worst, it's neither good, it's neither bad. All right. How do you know when a puppy has to go potty? How do you know? You're playing with the puppy? Kids love to play with puppies. They're not watching. They're doing the thing. The baby doesn't have all the self-control mechanisms set in play yet. How do you know? Well, they pretty much universally, they pretty much all do the same things, and they'll start sniffing and they'll start twirling. And the twirling is really important, right? It's instinctual with a dog. They'll start twirling, and that's just making sure they have a safe place that they can urinate or defecate. So those are really good things in body language for the dog to watch out for. All right, so, and then lots of fun trips, outings. I do not ever recommend that the puppies go to local stores until they've had their second set of vaccinations. Just always keeping in mind that the 2 biggest killers are parvo and distemper. And the only ones that are truly, truly affected by that are the very, very young that are not vaccinated and the very, very old. And there is nothing a public facility could use that will kill that virus, and they can be airborne. So I highly, like a young baby, I highly recommend that those kind of public arenas you don't expose the puppy to until they have their second set of vaccination. So let's do a quick review. And then we'll do some Summer Wells chat. Because I'm kind of, I'll go into that in a minute. Girl, let's talk dog. All right, so let's review. 6 to 8 weeks. We don't have, our sphincter muscles aren't fully developed. We don't have the self-control. When the feeling, puppies, we're talking puppies, guys. Puppies. What are you thinking? What do you think? What do you think about having a 6 to 8 week old puppy? Who wants a 6 to 8 week old puppy? Do you want to raise a puppy? Is that something you're interested in? If you did, what kind of puppy would you want? Do you want a hound? Ain't nothing but a hound dog? Would you like a spaniel? Would you like a terrier? Do you know what I heard on No Thanks Live today? I thought this was so much fun, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but please forgive me. But he was from Peace River Search and Rescue right here in Florida, that they had a fox terrier that was a search and rescue dog. Do you like it? You have a great sense of humor, because fox terriers have a great sense of humor. They also had a chihuahua. A chihuahua as a search and rescue. How cool is that? A chihuahua. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lives. That was just a lot of fun, especially for someone like me. That was a lot of fun, and it was very educational. And I'm sorry that we're on at the same time tonight, as I love being a part of Doug's lives. So the puppy, it doesn't have the self-control, so you want to set the baby up to succeed. You want to set you and the baby's mommy, you want to set up to succeed. So nice, safe area where the puppy has the self-control. Now, dogs do not want to be dirty, so a confined area where they can stand up, spin around, and lay down and go to sleep comfy, baby appropriate, like a playpen or a crib, right? We wouldn't let a 2-year-old, or let's say a 9-month-old, just run around and go potty everywhere. We wouldn't do that. So same thing for the baby, same rules apply. What goes in must come out. So controlled water, because you don't want your watering bowl to be a swimming pool for the puppies, and puppies like to play in water. So controlled water, what goes in must comes out. You want to know, it's always a really great sign of health too, when you know what goes in, what goes out. Appropriate puppy food, high protein. Puppies need a lot of protein. A very high, well, not a very high end, but a researched food, because a better quality food is going to create less of a need for the defecation, which will help in self-control and help in cleanup and or housebreaking. So a good quality food. Puppies are going to need to poop at the age between 6 weeks and 8 weeks, 4-5 times a day, depending on food. Okay? But they're definitely going to need to poop 4 or 5 times a day. When the feeling comes upon them, they have to go. They do not have the development yet at this age to restrain. So you've got to be ready. When they wake up, they're going to have to pee. After they drink, they're going to have to pee. And anytime after playing, they're going to want to pee or poop. So just be ready. You've got little windows of opportunity, and then puppies are going to need to sleep at that age between sometimes 15 to 20 hours a day, and that's okay. They are in rapid development, and they're just learning to play and love and getting all their senses in gear and becoming an embedded part of the family. And what are the signs of a puppy having to go potty? Would be sniffing and spinning. Dogs naturally, universally will spin, especially before they have to poop. All right. That was great. Okay. So that is our dog content. Let's talk dogs for this evening. And we've been discussing the Summerwells case. I have decided to do more of the content that I originally intended to do, but on this channel, we will talk all things dog. So I've become part of the true crime community, and I love them. I have watched a lot of drama transpire. I've watched people become very, very passionate. I've watched people get what they call docs. I've learned a vocabulary list, and I've been amazed at some of the things that have happened. And it's been a real amazing journey that's not even close to being over. I don't have anybody on. Hey, Melissa. So I have become, hey, Nicole. I just did all the dog content, guys. I just went over Ziggy from YouTube, who also does true crime on YouTube, and she had taken a Summer Wells puppy, and that puppy is between 6 and 8 weeks old. Her name is Athena Moon Ziggy. And we just went through the development of a puppy that age and what their needs would be and how to start that housebreaking process. So now we're going to discuss the YouTube, what's been going on YouTube and the Summer Wells case. So I didn't do a live last night. However, I did a live the night before, and Huntaholic was on, and I literally was watching Ernie from Operation Rescue Our Children, because children need heroes. Because we live in 2022 in an age of technology and social networking where predators have a different forum to be predators on. As Chris McDonough said from the interview room, could you imagine these types of predators with web pages? And through the Summer Wells case, we have had I have witnessed some really amazing things happen. I'm watching some really bad guys. These are bad guys. These are bad guys. They're bad guys. They represent pain, abuse, humiliation, and shame. They are bad guys. And I've watched some really good guys. Some really, really good guys. Because children need heroes. And there are some really good guys, especially on YouTube, who have made some mistakes and turned their setbacks into a comeback. And I've watched some really strong women on YouTube. Some of them rise to the top like diamonds, and some fall to the bottom like stones. And why? It was truly their agenda. And I've watched both of these strong women, these different types, these different personalities, how they handled it. And some of these women, well, one, turned that setback into an extreme comeback. And though she didn't always say it publicly, what she did was take a good look and check it herself, and she started to change her platform. Now, she was put in a dangerous situation, and I don't know who else was watching, but I most certainly was. And how do I know it was a dangerous situation, you say? Because I watched the dangerous people publicly tell where she was, tell who she was with, tell about her child. And she moved because of it. And she should have. But she didn't back down, and she didn't do it with brass knuckles. And she's humbled herself, and she's a strong woman because she took the high road and not the low road. And it's impressive. It's super impressive. And I watched this woman take some serious stuff. Man, that you have to have a tough skin. Go to the girls that have that kind of tough skin. But in my opinion, she tolerated more than she should have. But I'm very proud. And she sent me a message this morning, and it meant the world to me. And if somebody doesn't ever think kind words don't make somebody's day, kind words can change somebody's day that quickly. So I'd like to say thank you for that. I really, really, really appreciated it. And let's move on to a good guy. So, Operation Rescue Our Children. Well, how about a hero there? So don't tell me, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't like heroes, because we all like heroes. And you know how I know? Because the superhero movies are the #1 most popular. Okay? They are. Who's your favorite? My favorite is Wolverine. Man and Iron Man. Big fan. #1 Wolverine fan girl. But the real life hero, who's only going to be on YouTube for about another 45 days, because he's truly on a mission, because he's truly qualified, because he comes from a place of humility. He comes from a story that most people wouldn't understand. And some don't. And some want to shame him for it. But it shaped him who he was. He happens to be incredibly handsome, just like a good superhero should be. And he happens to be a character. Don't underestimate this man. He is out to make sure that the children aren't exploited. And if you don't back that up, then I have to question what's really going on, because he's getting challenged all over this forum and he's holding his own. And by the way, he's very easy on the eyes. And when he's done with this, because I've had a hard time, in my opinion, this is traumatic. In my opinion, some of these things that are discussed in this case are so harsh and need to be exposed, but they are traumatic. They shut my brain down. As everyday shenanigans, she's a tough lady and she will call it out, point it out. Why can't you wrap your brain around this? Because it causes trauma, and trauma causes shutdown. So let's give a shout out to Operation Rescue Our Children and all that they are truly doing, like angel warriors. When I was a kid, I went to the subways, and you know who my warriors were? They were the Black Panthers. Because as a little girl, man, I can get on that subway and I could be safe because there were Black Panthers there. They were men with integrity, watching out for safety of youth and people to make sure they were safe, and they weren't. They could do things safely that they had a right to do. Got to be careful of the words on YouTube. So I want to go on a rant, but I have to watch my words. So true story, true story. And kids need heroes. And kids need heroes because we live in a different day and age. And one of the things that Ernie says to do, one of the apps that he recommends, and I always say this, now I have promised to do some things on this page, like show a missing child, make sure that other cases are discussed, even though I believe Summer and her dog Yucky are the official pack leaders for awareness of the kinds of abuses that this child and these animals suffered. And she's not alone. It's not just her. And Ernie says that. Guys, it's not, this isn't a one case thing. This case is breaking open some stuff and starting some conversation. Even if that conversation is surrounded by drama, it still brings awareness because people just happen to like drama. And when we're watching each other on YouTube, we're watching each other because we are entertained and we are fascinated by the subject. NSOPW. Got it, Nicole? NSOPW. It's going to let you know who the predators are in your, it's an app. The predators are in your area. It's going to tell you what level predator they are. And, you know, sometimes people are classified as predators that are not, that may have had a really consensual relationship. I've known young men that were 18 and dated somebody that was 16 and a parent. So I'm not saying just go judge. That's why there's levels. Go look at the levels. It'll tell you the charges. It'll tell you what happened, and it'll give you their face. So when you see them, you know them. Because one of the things that Summer and her puppy Lucky have been able to expose is signs and symbols. And this is one of the things that Ernie talks about, because there's all sorts of ways to communicate. And nonverbal is one way. Sign language is another. Colors, symbols, brands, verbiage, different things can expose a message. But if you don't know the message, you don't know to look for it. So it's super important that you know the message, because what's happening in the Summer Wells cases, things are getting exposed and people are exposing themselves all over. Okay. And they're challenging the authority. They're saying, we have the right, your children don't. Wait till the world gets a whiff of angry women everywhere and we stand up for our children. That's when Operation Rescue Our Children has an army, because mamas will do everything to protect their children. And we know now that all these things are being exposed that you're going after our moms with addiction. But once we start talking about it, we can start re-talking and reopening thoughts of addiction programs so people have other avenues to get help, of one thing at a time. At least the conversations are starting, and they've started on YouTube, and at least the things are starting to be exposed for what they are. So Operation Rescue Our Children, obviously I'm a fan. I'm a fan of saving the kids. I'm a fan of getting out there and making sure that you are doing the correct thing, to make sure the correct bills get passed, to make sure the wrong ones don't. Somebody needs to be paying attention. And to our youth out there, you are a more educated youth than you've ever been because of social networking. You know more about politics. You have all gone out and voted. You are stating your opinions. You are getting on camera and you are talking about it. Don't let anybody tell you you're anything less. You are the next generation, and your education is important. And don't underestimate how smart Ernie is. Just because he's gorgeous does not make him brilliant. By the way, every time somebody says something negative, they're bringing attention to him and his crew, and they're out there doing what they need to do for the right reasons. Okay. So who else did I want? Josh from the lab. He's another one. Had a scenario. He thought about it. He stepped back. And I have to say that Josh's content has become so good. He took this scenario, and all of us, right, I'm still very engaged in this case, but I want my heroes to go be my heroes. And at this point, the heroes out there that are the people that are cyber watching what is happening on social networking in protection of our children. Okay. Ernie asked tonight, when was the last time you went and checked who your kid was talking to and if they were safe? Okay, because it's a scary thing. I'm not going to give you all the details on the Summer Wells case. My recommendations, first and foremost, would be Chris McDonough of the Interview Room. Not only do I think he's amazing, doing an amazing job on this case, he is a true professional. He is speaking to you about body language. I'm also going to recommend, so you should be learning from him. If you really want to learn about body language and how people think and their reactions, you shouldn't just be listening to Chris about the case. You should be listening to his interpretations of when people are talking back to him. He's fascinating, if you find that kind of thing fascinating. My other would be Michelle from Michelle Walks, who's done her whole series on this with her dogs, which is why we all love her. She walks her dogs every day. She does great commentary, much respect, and she has inspired people to starting their own channels, I included. Michelle of Michelle Walks and Michelle After Dark. The only channel that I pay a membership to, and they're all up there, and I read every book that they put out. And I was doing Chase Hughes' little course, and he would yell, because he yells at you right in the book and says, you're not serious unless you finish this and you commit to doing it. And I failed, so I have to restart that up. But the behavioral panel, they are the only one that I pay a paid subscription to be a part of their membership, because they're fantastic, just fantastic. And if you want to know about body language, definitely check out the baby panel. I'm going to go back to them in a minute when I do my very last recommendation. True Crime Exposed, great guy. He has the best ability to listen. He listens. He lets his panelists speak, and he asks questions. He's so good that I considered that he was law enforcement, because law enforcement should be all over this. I'm sure they are, because they got to go catch some peoples. They got some peeps they need to get a hold of and get away from our kids. And I support that 100%. Full heart. Okay. So true crime exposed. Remember, most of these people do panels. So what a panel is I'm starting to do them too. I have a link up, and you can jump on and come on the panel. Now, if you don't want to be seen, that's fine. Down at the bottom, you'll have controls, and those controls, you can literally take yourself off camera. And then I don't have a picture here right now. I need to get a What's Up Dog picture. But lots of people go on and they just speak like this, and they deliver their content. And then if you don't mind being on camera, by all means, you can be on camera. I like people on camera because I can see their face, and then I can talk to them. I can see expression and other things going on. But if I wasn't in the mood, or maybe I was just a hot mess that night and I looked a hot mess and I didn't want you to see that, or I was shy of the camera, I could absolutely do that. All right. So know that when you go on anybody's panel, that you absolutely, when you connect to the link, that you have that choice. And I always put the link up. All right. So we were at True Crime Exposed. True Crime Exposed is also helping put pressure on players in here and calling them out. And he does. He calls them out. He'll invite them up on panel. He'll tell them exactly what he thinks. They have a really strong hero-y pressure campaign going on. And this whole crew that I mentioned, I really, really think the world of. I don't always agree with them, but I don't have to. I support their right to say their opinions. And as long as their integrity is good and they are not exploiting children, which Ernie said tonight on his live, which was super powerful. He's the head of making sure children aren't exploited, and children don't need to be exploited. And there's something going on around these parts with that, and they're there to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, some just guys with some old school, good old fashioned values with manners. How about that? As Chris McDonough would say, keep it classy. I'm almost done here. Enchanted. Oh my God, I'm going to blank out on the name. I hate that. My newest favorite channel. Just hold on a minute, because I'm going to say the channel name. And I don't know why my brain went blank. But boy, I like this guy. And I haven't quite decided. Somebody needs to let me know. Somebody let me know some things. Please. Tell me what you want to hear about with the dogs. Tell me what you think of the content. Enchanted Life Path. God. I have a lot of books, right? Rapper's Notes. If I could do anything in another life, I would be a writer. I'm terrible. I write. I'm not a good writer as far as, but here I just love to be a writer. That brings me to Grizzly True Crimes. I'm an OG. First channel I subscribe to, and she is a writer. She is a writer, and her content, I watched her start out with no subscribers. She did the Gabby Petito case. She is in the Netherlands, and her content is so good. And she did not join in any of this, of the drama thing, but she still delivers Summerwell's content. I just think the world of her. I don't even know why she wasn't on my top, because it's behavioral panels and Grizzly True Crimes that are the first two that I even start watching YouTube for. Okay. Enchanted Life Path. Well, that's Mr. Carl, who I met on True Crimes with Ernie about a week ago, where they did the most fantastic live stream, followed by an amazing live stream from Doug from Thanks, where No Thanks, where he broke the tension with a whole bunch of humor. Funny. He needed to do a bunch of shorts on all those funny clips. You can get a lot of views on those. A lot. Because they were funny. I literally bellowed laughing, which was a pleasure after all this super heavy content. Carl, what I like about Ernie is underneath all this, he smiles and he laughs and he remembers to keep it real, and he knows that he's always going to be the hero, but he needs to do some self-care, respect. Follow Ernie. You only have him for about 45 more days while he takes a break. He meets the love of his life, and he gets refed and regrouped on what it is, because the things he's been dealing with are hard. And thank you for being our hero. Carl from Enchanted Life Path. Oh, this guy's just brilliant. He has a way of showing you what you need to see and calling out what needs to be called out. I'm not going to give away his channel. You have to go on it because it is fascinating. If you like that kind of stuff, you may not like that kind of stuff. You might not think that's fascinating. However, I do, and I've got to give a huge shout out to Carl. Hang with me here because I'm going to back it back up and I'm going to be done. Well, I will give you one more, our closing funny, which wasn't funny, but was handled well. The behavioral panel did the original interview with Doug and Candace Wells. When they do this interview, they ask some questions and they lead us down a certain path. Carl from Enchanted Life Path put up one of the videos and he slowed it down and showed them asking specific questions about other players in this story. So you're going to have to go on there and you're going to have to look at that. Okay. You're looking for Scott and Greg, right? Yes. I'm getting names wrong because I don't want to insult anybody. And you're going to watch the line of questioning. When I watched this, when Carl put this up and he slowed it down and the line of questioning, I realized that I never caught that. I didn't understand the questions they were asking and why they were asking them, and about the very specific people they were asking them about. It made me take another step back and go, wow. If we're not trained to see certain things, we don't see them. That our perception is tainted. And when somebody else is able to shine a light on that, you perceive it differently. So Carl from Enchanted Life Path. I said that right this time, right? Yes. Make sure. I don't want to say anything wrong. Yes. Did an amazing job. And in that amazing job, if I didn't have enough respect for those gentlemen, it went up another notch. And I went, whoa, you just don't know what you just don't know. The other night I'm going to end it with this story. The other night I was live with Huntaholic, was on the panel, and I was literally watching Ernie's live. And I looked over at my phone, and there was I didn't know what had actually happened. Ernie had let a panelist on. So what happens is you'll go into like a back room, and then it'll show up on the YouTuber's screen, and then they can just press so you come up on the live stream. Well, when he did that, there was a piece of pornography, explicit pornography. Well, I was on my live. I happened to look over and all I saw was that. And I literally went back and went, I think I just saw this thing on Ernie's live, but I'm not sure. We wound up ending the live to jump over to Ernie's live. Well, he knew what it was and he handled it. He handled it. He handled it and he never got rude or disgusting with the people that were watching him. But he absolutely handled it. And the person that did it is not a surprise that he would do that. Is this person capable of being a child's advocate? Is this person able to speak on behalf of missing children? Is this person viable with the language and the horrid things that come out of his mouth? Is this person allowed to bully people like he has on this kind of platform? Is this person working in the best interest of children or women? What do you think about that? This person has a large following. This person brags about the signs and symbols, that he wears all over his body. Do you know what the symbolism means? Are you aware of what symbolism is? You know, are you willing to learn what the symbolism is? Are you curious about the signs and symbols and colors and the things that are represented and people are bragging about today? I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. I would like to know what your theory is. And I want to know if you think this is close to being resolved. I want to know if you think you are one of those people that really want to support in advocating that our children are protected in the world that we live in today and advocating that laws and bills get passed on their behalf. I want to know that the innocent can stay innocent and that we all have to know that abuse trickles downhill. It never goes uphill. It always goes downhill. And victims become victimizers. So if we don't talk about it, we don't stop it. And children need heroes. All right, guys, that's it. I have to go to work tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful night. I hope that you're having an amazing New Year's. And I'll see you tomorrow. What? Maybe.